Hi, I'm Dr. Varudhini Kankipati, a counselling psychologist, and welcome. I get one question asked a lot, and that is from therapy. When do I know that I'm seeing a good therapist or that therapy is working for me? And this question is a really important one. So I thought, let's do a small little video on that so that you know what you might be looking for. So I'm going to talk about mostly around 5 to 6 points, but there could be many more. And if there are and you feel like you want to share it with me, please do comment and leave your comments below, okay? So the first one is when you go for therapy and it's your first session, make sure that you feel like your therapist is understanding you, right? Because it's very important. If the therapist you're working with doesn't really understand what you're saying, then what's the point? You're defeating the point. The point of therapy is that you're going to get professional help to be able to talk about what you're going through, your feelings, your behaviors, the way you're thinking. And the therapist is there to help guide you and navigate you with really important questions that will help you to understand what is happening with you. And from there, you start working on how to change these certain things that you want to change. So the first point is, please make sure that you feel like your therapist understands what you're saying. The second is your therapist able to remember the things that you're sharing, right? Like if in the second session, the therapist doesn't even remember what happened to you. Like for example, that you had a major accident when you were 15 and that really impacted you. In the next session, the therapist almost does not remember that. Then you need to know that, okay, well, I mean, it's defeating the purpose, because every session from there on, you want your therapist to roughly understand and remember what you've been sharing. The third one is that you do not want to feel like you're being judged by your therapist. And what that really means is that you feel like there's a value judgment placed on who you are or what you've done or what you've thought about. And if you feel like you're being judged, that's not a nice feeling, because what happens then is automatically you feel like you want to get a little closed down. You don't want to share because you're not sure if the therapist is going to think you're a bad person or that you have immoral thoughts, or you don't want to be seen as wrong. And so a therapy is not a place where you need to feel that. And if you're feeling that, then that's not a good sign. Another point is that you always want to feel like you know the direction that the therapy is going. Please remember, a session or one session with your therapist is not a fix-all. It's not a problem-fix solution all the time. Therapy is a process, and that process could be, depending on what you're going through, it could be 6 weeks, it could be 8 weeks, or it could be longer. So the frequency will be determined by you and your therapist. But it is important that you understand and you work with your therapist on the treatment plan, the direction in which you want the therapy. And you need to know that your therapist is following up on you on what that progress is every week. Another indicator that therapy is not the right one, or the therapist isn't the right one, is if the therapist is sharing too much of their own life. You know that it's not really needed. Of course, you might have a little bit of rapport in the beginning of a session where your therapist will ask, how are you doing? And you feel like you want to ask how the therapist is doing. So that's a fair enough question. But if you feel like the therapist has overridden you and is talking a lot more about their life, then yeah, you need to kind of hold back and say, okay, I need to be the one talking a little bit more. And sometimes in therapy, there is what is called as the therapist will talk a little bit personal disclosure, which is an important part of therapy, but the therapist knows when to disclose a little personal information, which is going to help you in your perspective taking or your understanding of the problem or challenge that you're facing. So that's different. So this is what I'm talking about, is where you know that the therapist is sharing and dictating, and somehow you feel like the therapy session is more like a chit chat And it's not like, oh yeah, I did this today and what did you do? And it's like you're talking to a friend. If that happens, then yeah, you need to stop and think, okay, what is going on with this session? Another one is when you feel like some of the comments that the therapist is making is inappropriate and you feel uncomfortable with it. It could be a sexual remark, or it could be, a flirtatious remark that you're getting from the therapist, and you know that that is not appropriate. So if that happens, that means that it's not a therapeutic professional relationship that is happening, and you can address that with your therapist. Another big one, which I feel is very, very important for everyone to know, is that the therapist is not there at your beck and call. So if you send a message or an email and your therapist responds back immediately, then it's not going to help you in the whole therapeutic relationship, because your therapist is a support, but it is not a 24/7 support, and you need to understand that. And that's all of these things are going to help set the boundaries and understanding of what this therapeutic relationship is going to be like. So you need to make sure that the boundaries are set. Your therapist is there to talk to you for that session, and if you need to reach out to the therapist, you need to do so in a guided manner, where it isn't that your therapist is there at your beck and call all the time. So let's summarize all of these things. So the first one is that you need to feel understood by your therapist. Second, you don't want to feel that you're judged by your therapist. 2, the therapist has a clear understanding and works with you on the treatment plan, on how you're going to progress. Another point is that the therapist sets the boundary of what this therapeutic relationship is. Another, you feel like the therapy sessions you trust your therapist. You know that the therapist is guiding you in a way that is helpful for you. And the last one, but not the least, is that you feel that your therapist cares for you and that you really feel supported in a way that's healthy, and that you feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing with my life. I feel a little bit more clarity in the sessions, and you start making progress in that. So thank you for watching, and I know that there might be a couple of points that I have forgotten. So if I have, or you have other points that you feel are really important, drop the comment below so that it's going to help everyone understand more about what makes a good Drop a comment below, and this is going to help everyone to know what makes a good therapist. Thank you for watching. If you did like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Take care, guys.